Oh, hey, what's up? It's your boy Rawk. Yep, it's October, alright. The time of year where it's socially acceptable to cosplay and ask strangers for food. And I grow 1 year closer to mortality. I fucking love pumpkins. Halloween's a bit of an odd holiday in the grand scheme of things. It's constantly left in the shadow of its more jolly brother Christmas, and the debate regarding which of the two is better will still be going on decades after the Earth has imploded on itself. And to set the record straight, Christmas lasts longer and you get more out of it, but Halloween has a vastly superior vibe and atmosphere. If you disagree, you're objectively wrong and you're uninvited from my birthday party. I'm sorry, that was harsh. Being a channel focused around gaming, I thought it would be interesting to fuse my favourite way of life with my favourite holiday, and see what we can get out of it. Let me get one thing out of the way right now. Yes, there are obviously thousands upon thousands of horror games that I could talk about, and that you've probably seen milked to a very exaggerated death. But you see, I'm a man with a more refined taste in terms of gaming. I like the Yoshis, I like the Kirbys, I don't like pizza flavoured child murder. Yeah, I didn't like Sleep anyways. So, instead of focusing on games with 3 colours and an arseload of boo, I'm going to take a gander at how the Big N tackle the spookier side of life. And what better game to start with than... I can explain. What I'm about to talk about isn't at all exclusive to New Leaf, and is the same in pretty much every Animal Crossing game. Except, of course, he who shall not be named. Animal Crossing is the only Nintendo game that I can think of that directly celebrates Halloween. Being a life simulator that runs on real-world times and dates, Animal Crossing does an excellent job of showcasing a large amount of real-world holidays. And naturally, Halloween is one of them. I'm going to focus on New Leaf here simply because it's the game whose Halloween event I've played the most. But that's not to say anything about the quality of the event in the other games, because my god, they're amazingly fun. Of course, as with every event in Animal Crossing, there is a furniture set to go with Halloween, and I love this set so much I need it in my house. Not only that, but you can go trick-or-treating. Now of course, Halloween's coming to Animal Crossing New Horizons, but that isn't going to stop me from cracking open the old 3DS and scaring the shit out of Colden. You know what you did, Colden! Oh hey, I can do that in New Horizons too. Neat shit. As previously mentioned, you can go trick-or-treating and collect candy, or sweets if you're cultured. And to do so, you go around your town on the hunt for your villagers, who are out enjoying the night. If you find one, they will attempt to bargain with you for your candy sweets. In response, you can either be a nice person and hand over what they want, or you can be a self-centered scumbag and refuse. If you're like me and favour the latter, the animal will play a game with you, usually rock, paper, scissors from what I've seen. If you win, they give you a sweet. If you lose, they prank you by replacing an item in your inventory at random. So for the love of Shrunk, please don't have anything valuable on you. Please. If one of your villagers is being a Scrooge, naturally the only solution is breaking and entering. Yes, you heard me right. You break into people's houses, wearing masks, and scare the lollipops out of them. Literally, the lollipops can then be traded into Jack for some furniture, so I guess that makes the crime completely justified. No need to look further into it, let's move on. I can already hear your comments now. Rawk! Who the fuck is Jack? Well, Jack is the star of Halloween who appears in your town only once a year. Can I just say, oh god, is this character cool! An entire character based on my favourite holiday, and he's a carved pumpkin and he uses one of my favourite colour combinations. He's the best! One of the best things about Jack, in my opinion, is something fairly subtle. You see, on the night of his visit, all of the villagers are wearing pumpkins on their heads and have similar gowns on. This makes Jack blend in with the crowd, and if you're only half paying attention, you could run into him without even realising it was him. And who doesn't love an unexpected visit from this guy? Surprise! But the question still stands. Who the fuck is Jack? Well, something that Nintendo love to do is to base their characters on old folklore. You know the sort. The stories that old grandpas would tell around a campfire to scare the piss out of some kids. It's widely accepted within the Animal Crossing fandom that old Pumpkinhead over here is based on just such a tale. The tale of Stingy Jack. Jesus Christ, I was not expecting that lightning. As with any old folktale, the details get fudged with every retelling. But, according to the story, Jack was an Irish alcoholic, and he invited Satan to drink with him, as all self-respecting alcoholics do. Living up to his name, he refused to pay the bill, and suggested Satan turned himself into a silver coin to pay with. Clueless of his plan, Satan agreed, and Jack put circular Satan into his pocket, the same pocket that contained a crucifix, trapping the devil. Jack agreed to free him on one condition, that Satan didn't take him to hell for being a dick to everyone for at least 10 years. 10 years later and Satan strikes again, ready to take Jack all the way to hell. Jack requests an apple to eat before his soul is taken to hell. So the devil climbs a nearby tree to get one. Jack quickly lays out crucifixes around the tree, leaving Satan stuck up there forever. He agreed to free Satan on one condition, that he would never take Jack's soul to hell for his actions. Later, as it tends to do, Jack's alcoholism killed him, and he was refused from heaven for being a dick. And he was also refused from hell because Satan isn't one to go against his word. He gave Jack an ember and a pumpkin to light his way, and sent him to wander the earth for the rest of time. And for some fucking reason, the pumpkin just becomes his head, I don't know. Now obviously, the first thing that came to everyone's head during this story was of course, Animal Crossing. It sure did. The sweets that Jack is so obsessed with are clearly meant to represent Stingy's alcoholism, and his pranks on the player represent his general arseholery. People also think he's enslaving the animals because they're scared of him. Who hurt you? Jack is the mascot for Halloween and he's around your town for the entirety of the event, from 6 PM on Halloween night to 1 AM the following morning. I fucking love this event. If the event itself isn't doing it for you though, you can always turn to fan efforts thanks to the in-game Dream Suite, the most infamous of which being the fucking lightning again. This village is very unique in the Animal Crossing landscape, and it does the unthinkable and tells a story. There's a whole lot of ambiguity surrounding what the hell that story is, which, in a weird way, makes it more unsettling. Each and every experience of the village is up to the player's interpretation. Each encounter is unique and personal, and that's something of a rarity. There is one thing you can't deny though, that sure is child murder. This village also made a comeback in New Horizons, would you look at that? Sticking on the life sim side of life, Nintendo also has another series that has a Halloween event in it. So, let's talk about Tomodachi Life. Tomodachi Life, another charming little life sim that's relatively unknown compared to Animal Crossing. It got an entry on the 3DS and got another entry never. I really need to start using this word better. Tomodachi Life doesn't have a full-fledged event like Animal Crossing does, but there are still a fair amount of changes in the game to celebrate Halloween. All of the shops decorate for the season. I mean, why wouldn't they? It's half the reason I like Halloween. You take out the shitty plastic pumpkins and orange-flavoured lights and I refuse to give a shit about the end of October. The Mies who run the stores all dress up in costumes, which is a fun touch, and they all greet you with trick or treat, my favourite phrase to use before robbing someone. There are also a fair few items for sale, such as this interior for a Mies apartment, which is genuinely so cool. I love it. There's a good number of costumes for sale, naturally. That's the other half of why I like Halloween. You remove the shitty werewolf mask and I refuse to give a shit! And finally, the food shop sells some really tasty looking Halloween snacks, which is a fun touch. You know, these two games have taught me something. I need to find a costume. One problem though. After looking through my wardrobe and Pinterest, I've come to the conclusion that I've got nothing. Nothing at all. Well, hopefully my next few games will help me in my search. As far as I know, no other Nintendo games reference Halloween directly, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any other games that fit the holiday well. For example, you take Mario, slap a green L on him and... that took a dark turn quick. Luigi's Mansion. Come on, I wasn't not going to talk about this series. For all three of you who don't know what a Luigi's Mansion is, allow me to educate you on the deep, original, never-before-seen concept. It's Ghostbusters. But with everyone's favourite Mushroom Kingdom misfit. The original Luigi's Mansion was made to be a graphical showcase for the yet-to-be-named Project Dolphin. And yep, this game showcased graphics alright. The game would then go on to get a sequel 12 years later on the 3DS, and another 7 years after that on the Switch. Jesus! I plan on rocking the fuck out of these games at some point in the future, so I'll keep things relatively brief for now. Each of these games are set in a haunted mansion, or 5, or a hotel, but that's besides the point. Each of them is absolutely crawling with ghosts, and it's Luigi's job to suck them all. Each of the games have a slightly different atmosphere, which is both a blessing and a curse. The original's atmosphere is very tense and genuinely creepy. Throughout the entire game you can see and feel the genuine fear in Luigi as he hums the main theme to fill in the silence, trembles in terror when opening doors, and of course, Mario! The entire game takes place in the one mansion, which makes it feel almost claustrophobic, and that's really effective. Dark Moon goes for a different approach, seeing Luigi explore 5 separate mansions. The atmosphere is a lot less tense and a lot more comical, but I'd still say that it's really effective and still fits the season well. The art style is less realistic compared to the original, which is somewhat off-putting, but it still elicits the feeling of a haunted house, just more generic Mario than Resident Evil. And finally, 3 is a superb combination of both styles, and it is phenomenal. It returns to the one building format of the original, but rather than a mansion, it's a hotel with floors that become increasingly wacky in terms of their visual theming. Each one is vastly different, and while they barely stick to the confines of the hotel theme, they're all still a blast. This game definitely feels a lot more tense than Dark Moon, but it's still a far cry from the original. But I'm okay with that.
Alright, we have 3 solid contenders of games to shit myself to tonight. But we have 2 series that have spoop in spades. Minus Wild World. And we have Tomodachi Life, just in case I want to waste my time. I still don't have a costume though, so I guess I'll have to continue my search by playing one of these games. Yeah, I think I'll go with the original Luigi's Mansion. You can't go wrong with this game.
My only complaint with the original Luigi's Mansion is that throughout the entire game, no matter where you are, or what you're doing, all you can hear is the same goddamn song the entire fucking time! Wait. That actually brings up a good point. Scary parts of Nintendo games really aren't anything without the music. Huh. Thinking about it, this makes a lot of sense. Nintendo has sort of an image of family friendliness, inclusivity, and horror is something that fits neither category. That's why you don't see gore in any of Nintendo's first party software. I stand corrected.
So if you can't show something explicitly worthy of a change in pants, then how do you invoke fear in the player?
That's right, the messiah of spoop. I shit myself. Creating a tone goes a long way in giving someone the heebie-jeebies despite the fact that boobs aren't that scary, and music has a very large role in that. Autocorrect works in weird and wonderful ways, my friends. Now you're probably sitting there like, okay, Rawk, but do you have examples? Yes, I have examples! Luigi's Mansion, the music and atmosphere of that game are spot on perfect. Ghostly Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy, the music has an unsettling elegance to it that gives me goosebumps. Animal Crossing, the Halloween music has a classic old school haunted house vibe to it that just makes me so wet. Pokemon Let's Go, the Lavender Town remix is equal parts eerie and legitimately tear-jerking. How did they pull this off? Banjo Kazooie, Mad Monster Mansion is literally the perfect Halloween theme. Luigi's Mansion 3, the Grand Lobby Ghost theme is such a frantic and creepy track that can work to strike genuine anxiety into the player while still being charming and comical. Need I go on? Just listen to this clip from the Haunted Zone in Poke Park Way and tell me with a straight face that it doesn't get you in the pumpkin carving mood.
Why does this happen every single time?
Each and every one of these songs, working in tandem with the levels they are found in, offer up a unique and honestly really charming, spooky atmosphere that really makes the Halloween season for me personally.
Alright, we have a few more games here that I can dabble in to get my pants even soggier, and I'm building up quite the collection here. Only problem is though, the creeper meter's only off the charts in certain places within these games. Like, yeah, the Haunted Zone is fan-fucking-tastic, but I can only spend eternity there before getting bored. Bad example. Pretty much every Mario game has a ghost level, but that's just it. A level. And I'm not going to spend hours playing the ghost houses in Mario U. I'm lonely, not a fucking maniac. And on top of my disappointment of the lack of Halloween representation in games, I still don't have a costume! What the fuck am I gonna do? Yellow.
I have a costume idea for you.
I'm listening.
Just think of the thing that scares you the most, and become it.
I don't know who the fuck that was, but thanks. So, what's my greatest fear? This thing is fucking abysmal. It's bound to scare the piss out of some kids. Halloween is saved! Whew! Now that we've figured out my personal dilemma for the night, I'm gonna kick back and work through this giant stack of games before the night is over.